Enhancing Virtual Reality by Tyler, Yates, Daniel, and Tom. So what is virtual reality? Is it an Xbox possibly? Call of Duty looks pretty realistic. Could it be a racing arcade game? Those things are pretty intense. Well, actually, it's neither. Although playing Xbox may feel real at times when you're really focused, it doesn't really give you the impression of actually being there, and your body movements aren't required to perform an action. Pressing the A button to jump gives the user little sense of actually being there. In a virtual reality environment, the user would have to physically jump in order to jump in the environment, which is not the case of Xbox. Likewise, a racing game is not virtual reality, since you do not feel any of the forces from turning in the game, and the physical structure of the racing game itself is not convincing enough to feel like a real car. Well, I've told you enough of what virtual reality isn't, so what is it? Well, virtual reality is defined as a sophisticated and seemingly realistic environment that gives the user the impression of actually being there.
There are many practical applications of virtual reality.
So let's get to it. So let's say your friend is walking in the park one day, and I don't know, he spontaneously combusts, igniting everything around him. He is likely in immense pain, and virtual reality is actually used to focus the victim's mind elsewhere. The victim can be simulated as being in an ice world, where they can interact with the environment by throwing snowballs at snowmen and penguins. The cold environment distracts them from their burns. So a different example. Your friend sees an interesting plant in his backyard and wants to check it out. But as he's looking at the plant, he sees a spider. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he has a phobia of spiders. So he passes out. Using virtual reality, your friend can overcome this fear through gradual exposure or systematic desensitization. So do you think we've mastered virtual reality? Not by a long shot. There's still a lot of things that need to be improved on. So what are some of the current challenges? As you can see, it is very difficult to represent people in virtual reality as their details are highly complex. Shadowing is crucial to adequately depict the facial structure of a person. It defines the wrinkles, curves, and dimples of the face. Without adequate attention to the details of shadow, the resulting representation is not very convincing. Another challenge is enhancing artificial intelligence, or AI. The current problem lies in the inability to program people such that they can carry on a meaningful conversation. There are issues in the delivery of speech as well as responding in appropriate context during conversation. One of the most difficult senses to simulate is touch. In order to create a realistic virtual environment, developers must enable users to sense objects around them in the virtual world. The last major challenge in improving virtual reality is creating a more practical way of simulating forces and the effects of gravity. Virtual reality gives the impression of physically being somewhere else. Its current uses include treating phobias, comforting burn victims, as well as training military personnel and pilots. Scientists are still working on ways to improve the virtual experience, and these are the challenges they face. Thank you for listening.